Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. So let me talk to you today about hello, everybody. Good to be with you. So I want to talk to you today about the real secret of awakening. And I've got a lot of experience in being in the same room with people as they woke up. I don't want to say that it was my influence that did it, but I ain't going to say it wasn't. And when I say that, I don't mean that the unit gets any credit, but I'm saying that awakeness coming through this unit is the appearance of things. And it seems to have had, quite a mighty impact. I can't make it happen, but I can sure encourage it. And encouragement is very often, most often, almost always is all that is needed. It just needs really, really sharp encouragement. And one of the ways that you can encourage someone to come to see the truth is you can point out for them precisely what ain't true. And what's not true is virtually all of your assumptions about who you are, what you are, how the world works, all of that. You're wrong if you're not awake at this moment, then you're wrong about almost everything. How about that? It's no fun, is it? I mean, 2 and 2 equals 4, before and after enlightenment. And, before enlightenment, carry water, after enlightenment, carry water. So a lot of things don't change. But the things that do are absolutely fundamental. They are the things upon which your life is built. Your whole self-image, all of that is built around these assumptions. And what I try to do is show you that the assumptions that you have had all your life, never questioned, that they're wrong, that they are absolutely wrong. And there's a very clever process for doing that I cannot take any credit for, but I can tell you that I have spent years through the guidance of awakeness, if you will, perfecting that. Awakeness has done it. There's nobody here. There's no Fred. So don't think I'm trying to blow up a special Fred, because there ain't no Fred here. It's awakeness is trying to be, trying to be humble. And it's really hard to be humble when you're awakeness because there ain't nothing else. I mean, it's pretty easy to see that it really is all about you if you are awakeness, and you are. And so is this. So there's what is true. Now, how do we find out what's not true? Before I go into that, let me spring something on you, because if I don't do it now, I will forget forever. And I have to cut a zillion videos where I was going to say something, and I was going to say it at the end, and I lost it by the time we got to the end. I forgot it. So this channel is doing shorts. I'm cutting YouTube shorts. These are videos that are less than a minute long. And my shorts are either one question or one question or a quotation from the book of nothing. And I've got, something over 600 in there. So that'll keep me busy for a while. I've got about 25 out there so far, something like that. And maybe not quite that many, but I've done quite a few, and that's all been in the last week. So I don't know if you're seeing them in your feed. I can't tell because I can't subscribe to my own channel. So I don't know what you're seeing, but I hope, or I can subscribe to my own channel, but I don't ever get anything on it. So if you want to support that, I'd really appreciate it. Reach over and touch the little bell right down there at the bottom of the screen. Stop and look now and just see the little bell. And press the little bell, please. It will tell you click here or it'll tell you subscribe. You click that, you click the little bell, you'll never miss another video from me. I'm not certain that the shorts are on that feed, but I'm not certain that they're not. So I don't really know how that's happening out in the field because I can't see it. I cut them and I see that they get an X amount of views. And it's vital that you press the bell because subscriptions are what going up is what YouTube pays attention to. Subscriptions, views, even comments. I mean, just the number of comments, not what the comments say. But particularly views and subscribers. And in the absence of an ever-growing channel, which is not that easy to do, then YouTube will stop promoting your channel and you will start getting just eaten away. The rats will just eat your toes and toes and toes a little bit every day, and you start losing subscribers. So we don't want that to happen because then we won't have Fred to come out here and laugh at anymore. So please do subscribe, support the channel. The way that we come to see that we are not the body is, number one, this is silly. What have you always heard? What have you always read in every non-dual book? What do you hear when you go to a retreat or a satsang or you watch a video? What is it you hear over and over? Isn't it? You are not the body. Isn't that right? And what you do here, and you hear instead that you are the aware space, the awake space, the spacious emptiness, the eternal now, whatever. But nowhere in any of those do teachers tell you that you are one of these bodies exclusively. Can I tell you that you're not that body? No, the same way I can't tell you that you're not this one. You're oneness, you're all the bodies. But if you get trained and tricked into believing that you're just one of these, that becomes your reality. Now, when I say that, who becomes whose reality? Not Fred's, because there's no Fred. That becomes awakeness's reality as experienced through this unit, through this sack of conditioning. That's what you're looking at right here. It's a sack of conditioning. There's DNA in there, and then there's whatever experiences DNA has had and mishaps and everything else ever since that DNA arrived planet side. So there is, what is it? It's just conditioning. It's just conditioning. It's conditioning on top of conditioning on top of conditioning. The nature, the nurture, all that's conditioning. The experiences we have in our life, it's all conditioning, right? So what we have is we have sacks of conditioning. Now, a sack of conditioning in Zen, sometimes they will refer to students who are not as sincere as perhaps they ought to be. A Zen teacher or master might say, might call a certain student a rice bag. Or it might be particularly disgusted and come out and say, you're all rice bags. In other words, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But this is a sack of conditioning, not totally unlike a sack of rice, which is also a sack of conditioning. So as long as the world is seen from this sack of conditioning, the world will fall short of what this sack of conditioning wants it to be like. It won't be good enough for me. It won't be quite enough for me. It won't be near enough for me. It won't be good enough for me. It might be too good for me. Whatever it is, this ain't what I'm looking for. We're trying to get out of here, aren't we? Can you find any place other than here? And when you start saying there, what are you doing? You're identifying as this, aren't you? You're not the rice bag. The rice bag does not have life. It is lifeless. And the animating presence, the energetic presence within the body, that's life. That's life itself. That happens to be what you are. But it's very hard to see that you're life itself until you've really gotten clear on what you're not. So notice that sometimes you decide to do one thing and yet you end up doing another. How does that work? Because you decide this body's going to get up and go to the kitchen, and this body gets up and goes to the living room or the bedroom for something. And we can say, oh, I changed my mind, but is that true? Or you just start off toward the kitchen and get pulled back into the bedroom? I don't think there was actually like a following of conscious direction there or any sort of decision involved. I think you just, it's like when you're drinking and you're alcoholic. Well, the first drink that you take is you take the first drink. But the drink takes you from then on. You take the first bit of alcohol, and alcohol has got you after that if you're a practicing alcoholic like I was. I was a rice bag that was allergic to alcohol. And I had a brain that said, you're not allergic to alcohol, don't worry about it. And that was a lot more fun to listen to than the one that said, no, you can't drink anymore, it's just bad for you. The truth is unpleasant. And the truth of my alcoholism was unpleasant, and I avoided it for decades, successfully, in the sense that I could lie to myself and look myself right in the mirror when I was doing it. Don't worry about it. You're not drinking that too much. I mean, you might drink a little too much sometimes, but you're certainly not alcoholic. I mean, mostly what you drink is beer. You can't be alcoholic. And other lies like that, I could just suck them right in. And what we do, because we've been trained, we have been brainwashed into believing it. When I say we, I'm talking about the units have been brainwashed. When I say the units are already dead. So you can't brainwash a dead thing. You can't brainwash this Buddha. You just can't do it because there's no life in there as we know it, right? So you can brainwash that, influence that, do whatever you want with that, but it ain't going to wake up. And neither is this. The difference between this and this is very, very minimal. Here's the real difference in my head. This is hard. Of course, the head's hard too. But down here, this is soft. It's too soft. So hard, soft, right? That's the difference. Rice bag, rice bag. So what's talking to you? It looks like a rice bag is talking to you, doesn't it? Looks like a Fred Davis is talking to you. This is Fred Davis's YouTube channel. You came here to spend time with Fred Davis. Well, I'm really sorry to disappoint you folks. There is a Fred Davis YouTube channel, but there's no Fred Davis. There just isn't one anywhere. Now, you can tell somebody this until you're blue in the face, but when you start showing them, then things change. So one example of showing you would be the two people come into the room. One can see one can see a Fred, the other one cannot. So we got two people in the same room looking at the same thing, and they don't looking at the same object, but they're not seeing the same thing. One is seeing a unit, the other one is seeing a friend. One's got a story about the unit, one doesn't. One came with a mental image about the unit and one didn't. So the one who brought a Fred with them, do you think they brought like some sort of box with them and pulled out a Fred when they got there? No, they didn't appear to be bringing a Fred with them, did they? Neither did the one who wasn't bringing a Fred, but hell, they weren't bringing one. The one who was bringing a Fred didn't have to bring a box or anything like that, because Fred lives in the head. Fred lives in your head. He doesn't live in this head. He really does not. He doesn't really live anywhere, but he's taking up space in your head. In the absence, just pretend for a moment you thought you were somebody, like a named individual, a named separate individual. You believed you were that person all of your life. Let me ask you this. You experience the world because you look as that unit. How does this affect me? Throat's about to kill me over here, so we're just going to have to put up with a cough drop. Sorry, but this is not the part of the session that wasn't supposed to happen, right? This is what's happening, and so it's all good. Where were we? When in the absence, you believed you were, let's just say, Helen or Tom all your life. If you don't believe that for just 1 minute, if you don't believe as a named thing, if you just don't believe that you are this body, if you believe, what if you were to believe you were this space instead? There's the space. It's unconditioned space. You could believe that. And if you were the space here instead of the body, what could you find wrong here? How much trouble do you think that this space is having? Is the space suffering? Is the space frightened? Is the space worried about paying the rent? Doesn't mean that the relative feeling of that doesn't pay off. We don't want to be out in the yard doing this. But there's no point in worrying about it. You're going to have the rent or not. You can encourage this body to go out and earn the money, and it'll do it or it won't. But if you just got your leg broken and you work construction, you're not going to work. You're going to have to find some money elsewhere, somewhere. You can't make the body do anything, even if it's completely well. I know I sat here at my desk today looking at stuff all about YouTube and stuff like that, very boring. And but I found it a little bit fascinating, and I found it more fascinating than stopping that and getting up and cutting a video. I knew I should get up and cut the video. because Betsy was going to be out for a while, and then I'd have the house to myself. It'd make it easier. And I knew I should get up. I didn't. I just sat here and I thought, I'm going to get up in just a minute. And I think I thought I'm going to get up in just a minute for roughly an hour. And when I was completely out of time, that's when I decided I'd cut this video, because I didn't decide it. That's when it happened, was when time was up. When I came to do this, when I felt like I had to. But when it was my sweet decision on what to do, I just did. It appears to be my sweet decision on what to do. The body just sat in this chair. You can't make them do what you want them to do. You're actually, you can't really realize it at first, but you're powerless over what that body does. Because you've been thinking you are the body, but you're not. In the absence of being the body, if you are this space, what's wrong here right now? Has the space got any complaints? No. We focus on these objects, but we're not these objects. How many times have you heard it? You are the awake space. You are the aware space. You are the spacious emptiness. Blah, 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 blah. And we all go, what do they mean by that? Well, they don't mean anything. They're just telling you the same way that you might tell me, I've got on a blue jacket, that you are not that body, you are the awake space. And the mind, which has always believed it is this body, it can't take that jump. It just rejects it. Hence, not waking up in droves. That's why. I could go on and on and on, but unfortunately, I only have the few minutes on YouTube. But come to find out what's not true before you worry about what is true. Come to find out what you are not before you worry about finding out what you are. Because you can find out what you are, you can look at what you are already looking at what you are. But you won't know until you come to find out what you're not. So I invite you to do that. Come to satsang. I'd love to have you. A lot of clarity can be found there. Come to Skillful Means. A great deal of clarity can be found there. And watch these videos. Come to the. Oh, we've got a new website. I see. I'm going to leave it to the end. I've got a new website. awakeningclaritynow.com. Same address. Way different look. So come and visit, and go ahead and click that little bell. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. I love you.